Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Get Rich 101 show. I'm your host, I'm Sacred Rights, and I'm an author of many books, but this is the book I'm currently promoting. It's called Hack Your Pain Now. Hack Your Pain Now. It's about getting past any blockade you have right now. Anything. Hack Your Pain Now is designed to help you. So check out the book. Check out the book. All right. So as you know, I've been talking about the fact that May is May Awareness Month. Did I say that right? No, Stroke Awareness Month. Stroke Awareness Month. And I've been asking people to come talk to me and share their stories and tell us how it made them feel, because I'm still dealing with mine. I'm still dealing with mine. I know some of you are thinking that it's so long ago and I talk the same. Nah, nah. It's been a bit of time. I had my stroke in July of 2022, but I'm still feeling the effects. I'm still feeling the effects. So on that note, we have a special guest today. We have Gladys, and she's going to talk to us about her problems with stroke. And in fact, I didn't even know she had a stroke. She's that flawless. I didn't even know she had a stroke. So let's introduce Gladys. Oh, wait a minute. Let me find my drum roll. Here's my drum roll. Here's my drum roll. Here we go. Hey, Gladys.
Hey there, how you doing?
How you doing?
All
Good.
right.
So hey, I had no idea. I had no idea that you'd had even one stroke, but I heard that you had three. And I want to start right there because
Correction.
uh-oh, two.
Two. Mhm.
Okay, great.
Okay.
And now tell me. Wait a minute. Sorry, I got too excited. Introduce yourself, please, to the people that don't know who you are.
Oh, I'm Gladys Williams. I live in Jersey City, and I don't know what else you want. I'm a jewelry designer.
Yeah, the jewelry. Tell me about the jewelry.
Yes.
You're wearing one of your things right now.
Yes, actually, that was my means of repairing myself, or a therapy, I should say, to get feelings back into my hands.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
So we'll get to that in a second.
Okay.
So tell me how you had two. Tell me about the two.
I was young when I had strokes. The first one was I was about 38.
Oh, wow.
It was kind of like during sex.
Wow.
I thought I was reaching over and I thought someone else was in the room because I didn't feel my hand. So I jumped up. I thought someone else was in the room, and I touched someone else's hand and realized I didn't have any feeling in that hand. That was the first time I recovered.
Wow, that's a lot. That's a lot. Wow, I had no idea. So that's a lot. All right. So
Yes.
whatever.
And so I recovered rather quickly from that because I was young again. And I had another stroke. I guess I got up in the middle of the night and stumbled and was laughing. And I guess when I looked in the mirror, I was drooling.
Wow.
And I'm like, what's going on? And it took a couple of minutes to realize well, something's wrong. I think I'm having a stroke.
Right.
So that time it was a lot more serious. I spent about a month in the hospital. I couldn't walk. Once I got there, I would list to the side because I had no feeling in my entire left side. So I couldn't even stand without just toppling over.
Wow.
And that took about a month I was in the hospital, and then shortly I got out. I still had problems with my speech, and I was a receptionist, so that wasn't so good.
Wow. Okay.
I had to answer the phone very carefully or speak very carefully.
So you went back to work?
Yes,
Wow.
absolutely. Yes. I went back to work. The company closed shortly thereafter, not because of me, that is, but I inherited a lot of buttons. And initially I was into fashion design, but I couldn't stand at a table anymore. So I started making some jewelry with these buttons that I had inherited. And that kind of helped with the dexterity in my hands. So to this day, I just make jewelry. I love it.
You've given me a lot to talk about. You've given me a lot to talk about. So let's see.
Mm-hmm.
How did you get from you're looking in the mirror, you're drooling? How did you get from there to a hospital? Like, how did it happen?
Well, it was kind of in the middle of the night. Uh, I went back to the room and I'm like realizing something's wrong because I can't control my drool and I'm noticing that I don't feel, I'm pinching and I don't feel anything.
Yeah.
So I woke up my husband. I think I'm having a stroke. Okay. So we didn't have a car at the time, and I lived in New Jersey, and I used to commute into the city all the time, and my hospital was in the city. So I wasn't going to a New Jersey hospital. I'm going to the city. I called my brother, who just that day he had bought a stick shift, and he didn't know how to work it yet.
Wow. Okay.
So
time out. So you called him, so you could still speak fluently. You could still speak, right?
Well, no. I was mumbling.
Okay.
So to speak. But
Yes.
you could understand what I was saying, but I was kind of mumbling.
Yes.
But my husband talked to him, and got him over here. And
driving stick shift that he just got.
Yes, that he didn't know. So you could hear him grinding down the street.
Oh wow! Oh wow!
So I don't know how we got there, but he got me back to the city.
Okay.
Yeah, he had to come from the city to get me and then take me back.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so once you got there, you understood that your left side was
it was dead.
So you couldn't feel it.
No, at all. At all.
That's interesting because my right side, how can I put it? It became numb.
Uh-huh.
It became numb, but
it started out numb.
Uh-huh. But it still has pain associated with it. My right hand side. Still. So to this day, if I move this much, I can still feel it. I feel like a presence, like a bigger presence than he is here. So did you experience anything like that?
To this day, I know I have, although I don't notice it, I don't feel it. There is less sensation on my left side than on my right side. Even I guess even your facial expression. At some point, the left side droops more than the right side.
Yes. I have the same thing. Yeah. On the opposite side.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow. So how did you get past it? How did you get past the falling over on your left hand side? Like how'd you get past it?
Well, by the time I got out the hospital, they released me once I was able to walk. So I had to go every morning with the walker in the hospital and walk up and down the halls.
Really?
And eventually, slight feeling kicks in, and or maybe it's just that the motor control that when you're used to doing something, when you're used to moving, at some point you're still able. They say when you cut off your arm, you kind of still feel it. You still feel pain in that arm.
Yes.
So I guess that type of thing kicks in, and eventually I could walk even though I was still more numb on one side. So you make up for it.
Okay. That's really interesting how quickly you responded. And because for me, like I said, my stroke was July 14th, 2022, and I'm still feeling the pains on the right hand side, and I can move it. Thank God for that. But I still feel like a presence there.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you said yours was recent. Mine was 30 years ago. I was 40. I'm 70 now.
Right.
So I don't notice it anymore, but I still feel the difference. I definitely still feel the difference.
You still feel the difference?
Yes, only when I pay attention.
Mm-hmm. Only when you pay attention. Well, that's good news for me. That's good news for me because it lets me know that at some point, I can look past what's happening with me. And just
they say the other side of the brain takes over. takes over, because I say I'm brain dead sometimes, because I am. One side of the brain died, and then the other side eventually takes over all the things that the left, the other side did.
Wow.
Yeah.
So help me with this now. So what we're saying is that my left side of my brain is gradually taking over the right side of my activity.
Yes.
Ashe,
Yes.
ashe.
So you won't. Soon you won't notice any feelings, although it will always be there. The lack of feeling to a certain degree, but you won't notice it. You won't notice it.
Wow, that's very encouraging. And that's the first time I've heard anybody saying things like that. So that's very
yes.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Okay, so you had the left side. How long did it take you overall to come back to fix that side and move on?
Well, look,
like,
I was a mother. I had to come back right away.
Right.
I had kids. I had a job.
Right.
So I had to go back, even though I was still slurring, and I was still numb on the left side.
Right.
But I'm right-handed, so that wasn't too much of a problem. Yeah.
Right.
But I went back to work. As soon as they let me out the hospital, I went back to work.
What?
Yeah.
You were right back to work?
It was time to sit around. I couldn't afford to sit around.
Wow. Yeah. Gladys, I guess I've had...
What, are you sitting around? No, you've been back to running.
That's true. That's true. But I haven't been working. Working, though.
You better get busy.
I guess so. I guess I need to get... So what happened? So, let's just talk. What happened to me is I reached out to the video editing agency I was working for, because I was doing video editing for them. And in the time that I'd fallen and gotten back up, they'd kind of halfway replaced me, but they left room for me.
Yeah.
But I reached out to them, and then what I submitted to them was no longer, it wasn't snapping. Yeah. And so that became a problem. So I wasn't able to get that job again. And so that enabled me to look for some other ways to try to make money. Right?
Yes, you have to figure out what else you can do now with your current abilities. Yeah, right. Like I said, I was into fashion design, so I had to switch into jewelry design.
Speaking of which, like you have, you completely played it off. Like there ain't no thing, like jewelry ain't no thing, but jewelry is a really big deal for you. And so you're saying that you got into it because you were trying to fix yourself. You're trying to...
Yes.
Okay, so talk to us a little bit about that.
Well, I wasn't even trying to fix myself. I couldn't stand at a design, clothing, when you're cutting out a pattern, cutting out fabric. Couldn't do that anymore. But I still had that thing in me. A designer. You're always going to be a designer, an artist. You're going to be an artist at something, no matter what.
Right.
So I just started, because I'm sitting down, I'm home. I just started tinkering with the buttons and putting together jewelry, and it was working out. And then I noticed, okay, the more I did it, the easier it became, because working with those small pieces at first was like, oh my God, it was a nightmare.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I kept doing it because I had to do something. I don't just like sitting around, so I got to be busy.
Wow. That's so interesting, because we had the opposite effect. So what happened to me was, I was doing jewelry too, as you know, making bracelets, and I made 2 bracelets, both for my physical therapist, her physical therapist, and her daughter, and it was hard. It was hard.
Yes.
It was hard to do it, and I was like, like I used to make bracelets, and that's still where I've been. I've been like, I'm still pretty much used to make bracelets, but what you're telling me is I need to throw myself into breaking bracelets. I need to throw myself.
Maybe something else that's easier for you to do right now. I used to do fashion design, so now I make jewelry. So I had to change. You may have to change your path, do something that's easier for you, right? But it's still therapy. As long as you're doing something, it's still therapy.
Right. Yeah. What I was just thinking about was, the fact that you went right back to your job where you're speaking, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I went straight into these shows. These
Mm-hmm.
shows, because
Mm-hmm.
it took Rev Mel a long time to talk me into doing shows. I was like, nah, I'm not doing it. I say I'm crazy, but she
Yeah.
talked me into it.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that I've been doing these shows has been practice,
Yes. Yes.
practice speaking, practice
Yes.
speaking, practice
On the
speaking.
memory, on the speech.
Yes,
Yes. Yes.
yes, I remember so much more now than I used to at
Mm-hmm.
the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
So that has been my savior, if you will. Like the
Yes.
fact that I'm doing this show,
Yes.
right? Yeah, so that's a blessing.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you found your thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I found my
Yeah.
thing. I found my thing. And then I found the other thing, which has been money. Because as you know, I've been so for those who don't realize this, that Gladys is my mentor. We've been working together for years.
Mm-hmm.
So she knows things about me. And she knows that I was medium into money. Like, into money. But now I become very affiliated with money. I got the show. I'm gonna put the show sign up, the Get
Mm-hmm.
Rich 101, right? I'm
Mm-hmm.
fully into it because I saw the bill for my first ambulance ride. So
Oh.
they picked me up from where I had my stroke, which was Fisk University, and it took me like a couple blocks, like literally like a couple blocks away to the hospital. It cost me $1,000
Yes.
just for that one ride, and that's just one ride of many rides they've given me. And I was like, oh no. Now I have to think about money in a different kind of way,
Mm-hmm.
because I was thinking about how to get by, but now I'm thinking about how to be rich, and I'm thinking about that very heavily. And I noticed that you said that you are now doing with Robinhood. You're now investing with Robinhood,
Yes.
right? So,
Yes.
so how did that happen?
You must have said something to me at some point, because I like you. I'm not into money. I don't even. I put money in there, and I don't, and I left it alone. I don't even look at it half the time.
Right.
So I'm not trading. I just it's just sitting there, and it is growing. That's why I haven't messed with it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's great that you got something set aside. That's just great. That's just great, and it makes so much of a difference. Having that money set aside makes so much of a difference, right?
Yes.
Like because for me, I tell a story about me having an emergency fund,
Yeah.
and how I was driving my mom's car. Mom's car started doing something funny, and it just stopped. And so we called the maintenance people. They came over and they said, "You need a new battery." It's like, a new battery? What? So it costs $100 for a new battery. But I had the $100 sitting aside in my my universal what's it? What did I just say? What did I just call it? Gladys?
in your
My
armoire.
emergency fund. Emergency fund.
Emergency fund. Okay.
Yes, in my emergency fund, I had $100, and so I was like, okay. So I took the money out of there and I paid them, and it felt so easy.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of having to wonder, like, oh, where am I going to get
Where
the
am I
money?
going to get it?
Where am I
Yes.
gonna- where am I
Yes.
gonna get the money? And then I had to put back into it, and now I found more and more things, because there's always going to be something. There's always going to be something that happens in your life,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so to have that money available has been huge.
I'm sure. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
And it's funny. I've always said I was broken, because I've always said I was broke. I've always been broke. This year I said I'm not saying it anymore, and and things are happening.
Right, exactly. Because I used to have that same mentality.
Mm-hmm.
I used to have the same mentality, and I put it, because you took my course. Yes, you took my course.
Yes.
And so I was talking about the thoughts that we have that break us if we don't break them.
Mm-hmm.
These thoughts are like, I feel, I can't remember them now, but
Yeah.
but they were good. They were good, and they
Yes.
spoke to how we think about money, how we just think about it constantly, and how how we can think better thoughts, and those better thoughts make our world better. Make our
Absolutely.
world better. So yeah, that's good. I'm glad we got off on that tangent about things. But okay, let's get back to the nitty gritty. Okay, so it took you went right back to work. You got right back on everything. You started doing everything again, which is bravo to you. Bravo to you for being able to work on everything again. And then how long did it take you, until you felt like, all right, I'm good? Or when did you stop thinking about it? How about that? When did you stop thinking about it?
You never stop thinking about it. Like I say, if I sometimes I look in the mirror and I say, okay, yeah, I could see now how the difference. If you know how if you split your face in half and use
Yes.
the same half, it's two different personalities.
Yes,
almost.
I do this all the time.
Yeah,
All the time.
yeah.
And you know what? And you know what? I can tell so easily now the pictures of me between then and now.
And now, yes,
I can always tell.
yes.
I can always tell, and that's why. But that difference, that slight difference.
Yeah, yeah. So you never really forget. It's just you move on, and it doesn't bother you as much. It doesn't stop you, so you don't worry about it. You don't think about it. Only when it stops you. Only there are times when, like, you can't. Your memory don't kick in right away.
Yes.
Yeah, that happened to me. I could always complete someone else's sentence without ease.
Yes.
But my own.
Yes.
I have a hard time. So it never really goes away, but you kind of manage it. You learn how to manage it.
And so what do you do to fight that frustration when that happens? Because that frustrates me a lot. But how do you fight that frustration?
Oh, sometimes you got to give yourself grace and understand that you went through a lot, and you are lucky to be here. You are lucky to be alive. So the fact that you get a little frustrated or you can't move the way you used to, I mean, as you get older, you can't move the way you used to. So that frustrates you when you can't get on that dance floor and dance like you used to, or look, give yourself some grace. You're getting older. You still won't be able to do a whole lot of things that you used to do.
Give you some grace. I appreciate that. That's a good note to end on. That's a good note to end on. Give yourself grace. And
yes,
coming from you to me, that means a lot. And wait a minute. Oh, before we go, you said there were 2 strokes.
Yes. Oh, I said the first one came and went real quick.
Right.
I was in the late 30s. Yeah. And then I had the second.
Okay. All right. Just make sure we got everything. All right. So thanks so much for being able to share with me and to help me, because I still like you talking about my mind taking over the right side of my body that's brilliant. That's brilliant. And no one has said that to me. None of the doctors, no one has said it to me. So thank you so much for giving me that breath of fresh air. I really appreciate it.
Oh, always a pleasure talking to you. And it's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Glad you're doing good and still running and still working on these shows.
So this show will air on day 500.
Okay.
On day 500. Yeah. That's right, folks.
Yeah, congratulations.
Right. Get out there and run. Run.
Yes.
Run a mile. Help me out.
You can run. I can't run. So give yourself some grace for the things you can't do.
Come on and walk for a mile. Walk for a mile. Come on, Gladys. Walk a mile.
Whoa, me? I can't even walk for a mile. No. Those days are over.
Bicycle?
The stationary bike.
Okay. Stationary bike. Yes. Ride that one for a mile. That's
okay. That I can do.
Okay, folks. So that's what we're saying, folks. Contribute however you can. However you can to do it. All right. So thanks for coming and watching us, and check us out next time. And remember that now is better than perfect.
It's perfect.
Now is better than
perfect. That's right. Remember that.
All right. Bye, folks.
Bye-bye.